Yeah, you got to do it like all the big talk show guys. Jimmy Fallon, they always have the water cup.
Right. I always have something. People get on me about this. They
Is
don't.
that your
Hey,
photo on there? Are you your own photo on there? Wait, hold that up.
It got me edgy. It was like, you got a cup. They were like, why do you drink in the beginning of your show? Why don't you just get into it? I was like, no. I'll tell you later. What's going on, everybody? Troy Rawlings here. Welcome to another exciting episode of Meet the. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing, a lot of times you say a friend, but I actually know this dude. He's actually a friend. One of the first cats I met when I came out here to Los Angeles back, believe it or not, 2008. So I don't usually date these, but 2020 is a very historic year for coronavirus, COVID, uprising, election, all kinds of stuff's going on. But this young man, actor, artist, literally artist, actor, producer, director. I call him the Hollywood guy in a good way, and I'll tell you why as we go on. But make some noise for Justin Nesbitt, aka J Nez. Justin Nesbitt, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Yeah, some people know me as my little alter ego name, J Nez. So, Jennifer Lopez, J Lo. We all got that thing. Everybody's got a little alter ego thing.
Right.
So
right.
mine, that's from when I was younger, and I used to spit bars and stuff and all that good stuff.
Not but so long ago. I was still, when we relaunched the radio station, the J Nez song was in regular rotation at the LA radio now. So it was.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was a hot joint.
I still got stuff like. What's that?
You still got stuff. You said you still got stuff around.
Music sometimes for television. I have a publisher and like BET will want a song that sounds like Kendrick or sounds like this or that, and I'll go in the studio and give them. TV, you give them 90 seconds. You just a verse and a hook, and they chop it up and mix it and loop it however they want for the show. I have a couple themes on the Kardashians. I have Khloe's theme when she's in her car, like going out with the girlfriends. Like that's my song. It's called 24 Carats. It's on a lot of shows. It's one of my biggest records for television. So then I'm on a couple soundtracks and stuff. First song I ever sang on, I'm not a singer, but I can get by. Kind of like Lil Wayne did that one time. And I was just messing around singing on my first song. And that's my most successful song to date is one I wasn't rapping on. I was actually kind of singing on. And that was called All I Ever Wanted Was You. And that was on the 10 Rules for Sleeping Around soundtrack, which is the Bridesmaids creators and cast made another movie kind of like that. And it was a big soundtrack, big Netflix deal, went to theaters. My song was right next to Enrique Iglesias. Like that's why I just try things. You got to try stuff. You never know until you try. And as you can see from my credits and what I've done in this town, I try it all.
Hollywood guy. Like I said, if you're here in Los Angeles, even if you're not in Los Angeles, because we're gonna go back a little bit. But let me I always do this. I believe in giving people their flowers while they're still here. So Justin was one of the first people I met here. We were, I want to say we met at Media City Church.
Mm-hmm.
But which is great. You meet different people at church, fellowship, what have you. But Justin started an event, I believe he started, called Media City Pathfinders. And that event immediately helped me see how small Hollywood was. And he would bring in different actors, artists, directors, different people, 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening with other people that's in the industry. They would give tips, network. I got my first commercial casting agent there, Ms. Edwards. I met different people. I used to, on my comedy shows, I used to do a Ray Charles impersonation, and people was like, oh, you got the best Ray Charles impersonation ever. When I met Ray's son and saw we had the same head shape, I was like, oh, see, that's why. I was like, people say your head looks like my head. I see what's happening. But man, that did so much for me. Just motivating me to continue forth and create, being around other creators and realize it's not much different. Just get busy. So I really have to give you props for that. And then you always had the great hospitality. You had your crib, you invited people over, you're doing events. So thank you for your hospitality and being genuine on the Hollywood side. So when I say Hollywood guy, he's the kind of Hollywood guy everybody should aspire to be. So.
Thank you for that. Yeah, if you remember, I started that kind of again. It's like, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So we had a writer's strike. Do you remember that? There was a big, nasty writer's strike where everybody went out of work,
Right.
for months. And
I came at the end of it. I
yeah,
got
it
here
was
February 9th,
yeah, it
2008.
was Hollywood. That was like a hot version of a pandemic for actors and writers and directors and filmmakers. So I was like, we need to do something like a support group because it's bad. It was bad. So I wanted to bring people in to give hope so we can all lean on each other, motivate, figure out what we're going to do during this time, keep it together. And I thought like unity, like times like this, I thought unity it was good. It was appropriate at that time. That's really the reason I did it. And I found the right partners in doing it. Kind of like, the film we're going to talk about that came out today. It was just more, I have these like half, and they're not even full hearted. They're like half hearted, like, oh, that would be cool. Or we should do that. And it's always during some time that pushes me to do that, which is strange. That's kind of my thing.
I want to mention, all right, let's flip the script. Quarantino it instead of Tarantino. We Quarantino it and go originally from.
I'm from where you're from. I'm from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. That doesn't mean I lived at the driver where you get your driver's license. You know that.
Right.
I was born in Daytona Beach, Florida. My dad would manage a resort there and me and my brother were little, and he moved back to Maryland. So he moved and planted roots in Frederick, Maryland, Frederick County. And then later on, my mom, when they split up, my mom was a teacher at a private school in PG County, Prince George's. So then I moved to Prince George's, went to high school there, which is a great experience. It probably shapes a lot of what I do. And then, then I moved to Orlando, Florida. So yeah, I'm from Maryland. I'm an East Coaster. So that's so never.
You get to Orlando, and when did the entertainment bug really hit you? Was it in high school? Was it when you got to Orlando?
So every day, I don't know if people, my generation all knows the show, Total Request Live, TRL and MTV. Carson Daly was the host. Yeah. We get home, me and my boys would get home, watch that, like that. I love that show. And at the time, like Britney Spears was big, NSYNC, the boy bands, Backstreet, and I was like, I want to be a part of that because I saw how popular and cool it was. And like, I felt like, okay, I want to be part of it. So it's like watching the Beatles at that time. And, it's like, let me go, or Motown. It was like Motown out of Orlando. All the hit pop artists, Christina Aguilera, they were all being manufactured out of there. And I wanted to know, and I saw a news special on the guy that was doing it. A lot of the bands was Lou Pearlman, may he rest in peace.
Right.
I saw he had a company, Transcon. I saw like you could look it up. You had the address. I dropped off a resume there, and I just kind of went around town. I had it in my mind to move there, and I was doing modeling at the time, so I knew I could jet up to Miami if I needed to do some modeling gig or whatever. So I was doing some modeling, and then I was like, oh, I just gotta go. Like I'd listen to the pop radio. Hey, this band's gonna be signing CDs at here. Or, I remember there was a thing at Planet Hollywood, and I met Joey Fatone from NSYNC there. Because Orlando's really a small town as far as the entertainment aspect and people are concerned because Disney World takes up all of it. It's the number one tourist destination in the world. So I just would say, hey, and, I just go to the House of Blues where his bands performed and try to meet him or get around people that knew him. And the first group I ever met was a group called LFO. And I met Rich Cronin. And he was really nice to me. And I told him I was trying to write music. I'm trying to get involved with what you guys are doing. And he was also with me. He introduced me to his road manager. And then I just kind of started meeting people. And I ended up working at Lou's company. I ended up helping out with Johnny Wright a little bit. I got to do some stuff. I became really good friends with his cousin, Melvin Brown, who found Convict Music years later with Akon. He found Akon and T-Pain, and he built that whole thing. And Melvin and we're still cool to this day. But he'd bring me in with like Boys to Men in the studio. I sat with Wanye when he got the information. He's like, you're not gonna believe this. We just beat Elvis and the Beatles for #1 song of the time, End of the Road. I'm so excited right now. He's like, bring your friends over to the studio. Let's all, I got so many cool moments in Orlando, and all I did was really just, you got to kind of like I don't know. I just saw. I was like, I never thought it wasn't possible. You grew up in Maryland, so your parents are very influential in people in your life, and most people will not tell you those things are possible. No, go to college, get your degree. I'm sure you've heard it. A lot of people listening have heard that. My dad never said that. My mom never said that. They never said don't. My dad was more like, you need this much money, so this much money. And I didn't hit his amount, but he still was like, whatever, you didn't hit the amount, but go, he gave me his blessing, and he was a minister. My parents were missionaries in Haiti for years. I think I was conceived in Haiti, or my brother, like, we have a crazy background, but my parents were never, and they split up eventually, but they never held me back. The one thing my dad did say, he goes, because I played basketball, us hoop dream guys, kids, he goes, the NBA, maybe not. He was like, you're not even quite 6 foot, you're all right, you can shoot, but he's like, I don't know. Because I got to play against, when I played in PG County, I played against Steve Francis, Joe Forte. So I played against a lot of the future NBA players. And I wasn't dominating or anything. I had one good game. But, as you watch Michael Jordan, that's what's great about him, is he makes you think you can do it.
Right.
Race and you just want to be like Mike. And but I learned later in life, I'm not going to be in the NBA, but I can take that mentality, the MJ mentality, into what I want to do. So, it was great. It's great to have parents that don't hold you back. So I think that's just how I've lived my life, is just, I can meet that guy. He's a guy, right? We're a guy, you're a guy, I'm a guy. We're all just guys and girls. You know what I mean? Like, we're human. We can meet each other. And what's the worst that's going to happen? They don't like you, or what, I don't know. You really have nothing to lose. So I always had that mentality.
That tenacity is something that it takes. I say, if you can make it, I'm from Baltimore, of course, but I say if you can make it in Maryland, you make it in Baltimore, you can make it anywhere. And the same mentality. When I left and came out here, it was later in life, because God definitely grabbed me early when I was about to head to New York and said, well, go get your mom. She died from drug addiction. Ooh. So your life takes different spins and different turns. When I came out here, I was just ready. I was like, no one knows me. I'm going to act like no one knows me. And within 8 months of getting here, I had my first development deal. But it was like, it's that same energy. I love the fact that you said that, and I had to check you on it, because you were like, kind of half-heartedly. Don't get it twisted. His half-hearted, Justin's half-hearted, jumps out and still does it. So you half-hearted, like, I ain't got nothing to lose, but you're doing it. So you're fully doing something off of just the first idea. So I know what you mean by half-hearted, because some people are wholehearted into it, they writing everything up. You're like, I got an idea, and you start walking. See, that's the difference. You get an idea and you say, well, you don't sit down and say, well, let me do all this stuff and plan it and check with 3 different people. You said, let me get a plan, and who can help me make this happen? Hey, come over here. What do we need to do? Well, set up the camera. And next thing you know, you're doing it. So it's not half-hearted. It's like it's Clint Eastwoodish.
It's with a little intent. Like, I just like to throw things out there. It's in passing. The movie ZOOM.MOV was an in passing comment on a forum, and I was just like, hey, you could just do a whole movie on Zoom. Hey, you record it, right? With punches in on you. Yeah, just, what if a girl gets snatched? And I started just, what if? And then 2 people DM me. Are you serious? I was like, kinda. So that's half-heartedly, like, even Media Pathfinders group, I was half-heartedly saying it to a big script supervisor that went to the church, and her husband, who's a union grip. He worked on Titanic. I was just like, hey, we should do a group about, they're like, are you serious? Because if you're serious, and I believe in partners. You do need somebody. You think Steve Jobs made the MacBook with, by himself? He didn't. He half-heartedly was like, you could do it where it's like, because I watched the movie on him. Steve Jobs was a really good movie. I recommend. He's like, they got mad at him because he's like, well, you could just make it the software only for the computer. So then other companies, you have to have the Mac to. He didn't want to be compatible with every software like Microsoft, because he wanted to stand out. So I like his type of visionary is like me. I'm not going to sit on a typewriter and type, the whole script out. I'm not a screenwriter, but I can write an outline on Microsoft Word. I can give you the idea. I can give you the dialogue, and then let the writers do what they do, or let the people do what they do.
That's a very good good point. You mentioned something about Mario Van Peebles and being a mentor to you, and you worked on several projects. I'm surprised to find out that Zoom.MOV is your directorial debut. I thought you directed before now. It might have been just production and acting. I thought you had did some directing before now.
I directed a couple music videos. I did one pilot that was about poker players like years ago. That was about female. We were trying to make a female poker star because they get kind of discriminated. So I did a whole thing. I got a famous poker player, and he tried to teach the girls how to play and use misogyny to your advantage at the table for the signs and stuff. It was a cool pilot. It didn't get picked up. Well, it got picked up. It's one of those Hollywood deals where the guy didn't want to do it. This guy did, anyway. But that's the only thing I really directed. But I've been putting it. This is another little life's nugget. I've been putting it in. Like, I sat with Mario. We were on a movie in Mexico. We're sitting in this beautiful mansion because that was the location. Sun was going down. I was just like, Mario, I don't feel producing as much anymore. I just want to act and direct. I just want to direct, man. And I was just like, you could help me, or any, just any of the movies you don't want to do, because I'm sure you get offered movies all the time that are too low budget. They can't afford you. Maybe it's not your thing. I was like, I'll do it. So I started putting it out there. I want to direct. I started putting it out there. That was last year, way before the pandemic. So never in my wildest dreams did I think my first credit would come from during quarantine, and I never left my living room. I wrote it here. I wrote it on Zoom with the writer and filmed it here. I rehearsed it here with my little ring light. Like, I never left the living room, and I directed we could direct the actors. Joseph Cannon, I should give him credit. He wrote an amazing script, put it together. He was my co-director. And we just kind of directed them on Zoom. It was like theater. And I was like, people are so used to watching Zoom. If you watch sports now, the announcers are on Zoom. CNN, they're on every news channel. We're so used to watching Zoom. I'm like, people aren't going to they're going to feel like it's a movie because they're used to watching people. Right there. And then you talk. When you talk, the camera goes in on you, and then it goes wide, and you can see that's your master shot. I was like, there's my master. I want to get my masters, and I want to get my close-ups. And when you talk, you get a close-up, so then you can figure out. The one thing I wasn't sure of is how I was going to edit. It was experimental until we got the cut, and I was like, oh shoot, we made a movie. Because I didn't know how Zoom, it's so new. I didn't know how it would fit in Final Cut Pro and how you could edit the close-ups to make it work and feel authentic, like a real Zoom call. And we figured it out. Actually, I hired who I couldn't have done this movie without Michaelo Van Peebles, who is Mario's son, one of Mario's sons. And he helped me and Mario edit the EPK and some stuff on Armed, a movie me and Mario did. We partnered on that Mario started and direct. That one had a good message. That was actually about gun sense and PTSD, which was, when we started that movie, there was like one mass shooting or a couple. And then by the time we edited the movie, there was Vegas and I was like, Mario, we wrote this script like a while ago. Like, it's crazy how relevant it is. And same thing with Zoom, I think when we did Zoom, there was, it was right after, it was before George Floyd. I think so, somewhere around that. I think right when George Floyd happened, then you got all this other stuff happen after, and I was like, it's crazy. Now it keeps happening. But I had that experience with Mario, where you make something relevant about a relevant issue, and it sucks because it keeps getting worse, and you don't want your movie to become more relevant. And this Zoom.MOV keeps becoming more relevant, unfortunately. But this is how you try to change the narrative: is doing art. Because we can all do a post. I can do a post on Facebook, vote for so-and-so. This is wrong. Here's my topic of the day. But, people already made up their minds, and it's not going to move the needle much. But I can do a film. This film, Zoom.MOV, is translated in like 8 different languages: French, Portuguese. So this message is going worldwide. It'll be available for the world. That's better than a simple soapbox Facebook post or Instagram. Hey, go protest or blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not how I use my voice. My voice is, I have to make, it's kind of like what Mario's done. Like, you use your voice in your art because It's more impactful than a simple post. And post, you're gonna clash heads. Some people think this, some people think that. You know what? I'm gonna make it a rhetorical film and let you decide. I'm not gonna make a Hollywood preachy, because people don't like the Hollywood shove it down your throat, preach to the choir movies. Like, I had opinion differently that were in the movie, so they got to do their little improv and voice their little thing. We wanted everybody, and there was in casting, one guy, he's kind of like a red hat guy. You know what those guys are, but he was like, do you still want me a part of the thing? I was like, yes, we want everybody. Because what you realize, and when I see the red hat guys on TV, they're like, well, here I got a family. These people like me. But if I go in front of a blue hat guy, I get ridiculed. I get told I'm trash. They just want to be heard too. And I've been able to move so many, because I've been blessed to have people in high places on both sides. I know people, the red and really close to the blue. I mean, me and Mario had Van Jones. Mario's actually campaigning for Biden right now. Like, he's on the campaign trail. Mario goes on all the talk shows, Al Sharpton, MSNBC, CNN. He's done Fox. We even did Fox with Arm. So I try to pull everybody in, like, to them. Like, you got to meet in the middle. It's the only way you're going to get things done. So you can't just outcast people. You got to get everybody push, the right a little, center, the left a little, and then we can all, that's harmonious. That's where you make the deals. That's where progress happens. So that's what I try to, instead of just making posts and endorsing candidates. Like, I told some pundits, some people, I said, focus on the vote. Don't just say so-and-so sucks. He's a terrible guy, candidate. Focus on the vote. Obama won because he focused. He said, don't boo, vote. He didn't have to deck Mitt Romney. He never personally trashed his family. He just said, if you don't like what's going on, vote. And that's what I try to do. I'm just like, I told all my political friends I said, guys, don't make the mistake of 2016. Push voting. And if you notice, the last month, all the celebrities, vote now, vote campaign, rock the vote. I said, bring back rock the vote. Diddy was successful with it. You bring back rock the vote, you'll be successful. You can see the change you want. And I did that. I said that. I had a meeting with them, and I said it like 2 months ago, because I don't put my face on anything. I'd rather just influence.
Right.
Because you put your face on it, then they start, it's all personal then. And I always say I don't vote for people, I vote for platforms. The people are like, oh, I don't like his hair color, or he's creepy, whatever. Like, I don't care. What are the platforms? What are the things I'm passionate about? So I don't know. That's what I'm doing with this film, and I want everybody involved, because when you involve people that don't think like you'll see they latch on to things. They agree with you on a lot of things, and then I end up getting like a red hat guy involved with social justice because he felt part of it.
Do you think and I know it's second nature to you, because I know your personality, I know how you flow. Amazingly enough, I mean, I remember your pops passed away, right?
Yeah, 2013, yeah. He was 50.
But just to think that he's looking down like, see, I knew he could do it. I knew it. Because your whole gist of everything you do is continuously bringing people together. And I used to do it, have a friend that's a poet back in Maryland. We used to do a lot of events together. But he had this line. He had a poem called Lamar Hill. He had a poem called My Mother's an Evangelist. And he goes through this whole thing, and he talks about how he's doing this. And he's a slam hardcore poet. But he talked about how many people he brings together through what he does.
Yeah.
And that seems like the big pull of everything you've continuously done. As long as I've known you and what I've seen you do and work on, even when you work on music, you're bringing people, different races, different beliefs. You always have that magnetism to bring people together. So that's on this, and I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited for those that are watching now, you're probably checking this out on YouTube, checking out the whole thing, and checking the clip out on IGTV. But if you go to Amazon, it's on Amazon Prime, right? Is it on all platforms? Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah, Amazon Prime Video. You can rent it right now, buy it, download it. Roku, Vimeo on demand, which is a new thing I heard about. Vimeo on demand, it's on there. But Amazon, if your listeners can just leave a short comment, loved it, hated it, whatever. It's hard to when I made the film, because I've had movies reviewed, and you get good reviews, you get bad reviews. I was like, they can't knock me. I'm not trying to win best cinematography. I shot it on Zoom. I never left Zoom.
I got to mention that though. Your first movie, it's kind of hard because your first movie, you were a kid and you played in Monster, and Charlize the movie won an Oscar. So It's kind of hard if they go back and say, "Oh, him from that Oscar, it's a big change from Monster."
Yeah, I look
that's gotta be hard though.
Different. That was like 120 pounds ago, I think, or 20 years or 20 pounds ago. That was fun working with her. And Patty Jenkins directed that film, and we've always stayed in touch. And I've always thanked her because I'm not kidding. Like, and I've ran into Charlize and I thanked her. I was like, I wouldn't be here without that film. It gave me the courage. It gave me, and it was, they were where I was at. They met me where I was. So you can have a dream from wherever. And Tyler Perry taught us that. Tyler Perry's never been to Hollywood before he blew up. He blew up in his hometown. Hollywood came to him. And I remember him saying, like, God told him, you don't need to go to Hollywood and do what everybody else does, get a headshot. He created the character and focused on a play. And he never auditioned. Tyler Perry has never auditioned. Isn't that crazy? He's never auditioned for anything in LA. Yet he's a conglomerate. He's one of the wealthiest studio owners there is. And that's kind of, I call myself, I'm from the Tyler Perry School of Filmmaking, in the sense that you don't need to be in Hollywood, or you don't need them to come to you with the idea and all the stuff. Do it all yourself. You got to just do it all yourself. And I'm really inspired by him. My brother's worked with him and says nothing but good things about him and his company. And they've been to the studio. He said the studio's great. So I really admire him. And he's like he doesn't know yet, but he's kind of like a little mentor of mine of pragmatic filmmaking, not just philosophy. His philosophies are great. He said, you just plant the seed and water it. You can't control the light, the storm, the weather, how it grows. And I remember hearing him do that speech, and I reposted. And I'm sitting and I live with my brother Nathan, and he gets a phone call. Like, I just told him, hey, Tyler Perry did this great speech about you plant the seed, just plant seeds, seed planting. And I even did a message on it at my brother's spiritual group about seed planting. And I do all that. The next day after I get that, he gets a call in the morning. He goes, that was Tyler Perry Studios. They want to work with us. I was like, oh, that's funny. So it's funny how I believe, I've always said, especially in this business, you got to speak about it. People won't know. If I didn't say directing, I want to direct it. You have to talk about it. I believe talking is a version of prayer. For the spiritual folks out there, you can pray all you want on your knees and all that. That's great. If that's your prerogative. I pray with my mouth, my words. I just put it out there, because if it's just you and God hearing it, hearing your passion,
those things, you're speaking those things that be not as though they were. You're speaking it into existence. It is the nature of creation.
If nobody knows that I want to direct, I have those passions, it'll never come up if I don't post about it. And I've learned, as annoying as I'm always annoyed with self-promotions. I hate, because being an actor, you got to self-promote. I don't like self-promoting. I don't like talking about myself that much. But I realize if you don't self-promote and let people know, if I don't do an Instagram post, I'm directing now, people won't do it. In fact, one of Kenya Barris's partners, I was pleased today that he writes with him or whatever, who I love. I'm a big Kenya Barris fan. He's like the biggest showrunner, writer, right? One of his guys posted, hey, I'm going to watch your movie tonight. I wouldn't know, if I didn't post about it, he wouldn't know I had a movie. And that's right. The power of social media, love it or hate it. I always looked at it as it's a marketing tool for me. I can show people who I am. I show them my spiritual side. I can show them my inspirational quotes, and I can show them my art and my talent and my gifts. And you never know who's watching. When he commented, I was like, dude, thank you. I didn't even expect that. But that's why you don't do it for. I just can only do the work. I'm not the best marketer. My only marketing is me. Like I can just say it, and hopefully people latch onto that,
But you're genuine. The good thing about it, and people don't realize, like they say, put your best foot forward. You never get a second chance for a first impression. All those things that come forth. But LL was doing a piece. He started doing this thing where he would come on live and talk to people, talk to fans. And someone came on there and they put something. He's like, oh, just send your questions, send your questions. And someone was like, I don't want to keep. How do you ask your friends to support you or promote your project without getting on people's nerves? He was like, it's your project. LL said, he was like, it's your project. He said, now if you ask them 2 or 3 times and they don't want to support you, they don't want to support you. Yeah. But it's your project. He said, it's called promotion and marketing. All you see is fire and hands go up. He said, how else are you going to promote? Yeah. It's like, remember when Michael Jackson came out and he said, Tommy Mottola, he's the devil. And Tommy, it's terrible. It's just, I tell everyone. Well, Michael Jackson in his life, all he had to do was practice, perform, show up, perform, practice. And they stopped cutting big checks. Like here's 50 million to do your next album. We know we'll recoup it. No more of that. You did Invincible. He gave the money. He's like, well, where's the extra money I need for promotion? You guys aren't doing it. He's like, well, Mike, it's a little different now. And Mike lost. And Invincible album was not a bad album. But the thing was, it changed. You had these artists that were coming out. I think this was post No Limit. Master P changed the market.
The game, yeah.
Wu-Tang and those companies, Wu-Tang and people like that, they changed the market. Guys that got out there and promoted.
It was just the trunk. That was the trunk. Was the record business was in the trunk of your car. That was your record shop. That was Master P's record shop. Was the trunk of his car, and which is brilliant because
they changed the game.
You don't have an owner. You own that car. The rent's cheap on your little CD store in the back of your trunk, and it can go anywhere. It's mobile marketing. You can take it anywhere. That was one of the most genius things, bootlegging and stuff. And I was around when all that stuff took off in DC, as you can imagine. So I got.
Hey, we talk about Tyler Perry. And I was working in the barbershops in '95. If it wasn't for and it sounds crazy, but if it wasn't for the street DVDs that hit the barbershops and salons of Medea and the plays with Medea in it.
That's where the camera's all shaky. You're like, dude, don't move to the left.
And then somebody in the back of the theater, boom, he next to the soundboard. And
he went to the bathroom. The dude went to the bathroom. You see the shadow on the screen.
Yo, crazy.
Oh, man.
The bootleg movies was one thing, but when they started doing the plays, they were high quality because all Tyler did is put his plays on DVD, and they went all over the place.
Got it. So they bootlegged not bootleg, but
they the DVD, but they copied it.
They filmed it in DVD.
So by the time Tyler Perry brought his play to places like Baltimore, and the first one that did that was so funny. Shout out to DMV. We're about to give you some mad props. First one that did that, rest in peace, he passed away recently, was Shelley Garrett. Shelley Garrett had a play called Beauty Shop. Beauty Shop. If you go back and watch it on YouTube, because YouTube is amazing, go back and watch Beauty Shop. Beauty Shop became the schematic, the layout, the template for Black stage plays. You had some gospel, some female that's doing wrong. All the gossip that goes on. It was the groundwork. That's Barbershop. The Beauty Shop movie, the Barbershop #2, all of that came from Beauty Shop. All of that came from Beauty Shop. So he had this tour was going on. You had the gay guy that made at the end made gospel piece, and everything was in that. So when Tyler Perry came, and David Talbot came, and these other people came, they were doing a lot of Beauty Shop. They were doing a lot of those, or Mama I Want to Sing back in the day. Yeah. So you had these Black stage plays and went up and down the Chitlin circuit, where a lot of people for years, comedians like Red Fox and all these people, did amazing work. And okay, if I can't get into the Cotton Club, I can go to the Eagle, I can go to the Royal in Maryland, Baltimore, I can go to all the Black clubs and make the same amount of money, more money than the Cotton Club would pay me. and I can walk in the front. So same kind of thing. So Tyler was talking about it recently on the show when he got the billionaire thing. He said, I just realized I knew my market. I saw my market, and when my market was supporting me, I didn't need anything else. And for you, you have that same energy. And this project, look, I know we got a lot of time because his ZOOM.MOV, and this is a little different because usually I don't date these, but whenever you're watching it, you can check out ZOOM.MOV on Amazon Prime Video. You can check it out on Vimeo. We're gonna touch a little bit more, but I want to tell people this now, and we'll have the links, and I got some other promos we'll have on social media. But this is great because it just dropped today, y'all. So you can actually watch it today. And for those that are in the industry, because I know I've talked to people in the industry all the time, and you're like, you may have or may have not heard of Justin, but when you get a chance to watch the project, most people are gonna probably kick yourselves. Most of y'all gonna be like, "This is amazing." You're gonna try to reach out to him. He's reachable. That's one thing I say. I've never had a hard time reaching you ever. You know, and I gotta give some love out to the family and the friends of Sam Sapong. You were the one. I guess we were all at Media City at the same time, but you introduced me to Sam Sapong when I first really met him, and y'all working on the music projects together. And I was like, you got to really put some buzz out there. And it's the tenacity to keep going forward. Yeah. And even if somebody out there, even if you have a half-hearted idea, even if you're like, this ain't gonna work, say this ain't gonna work and walk. You know, the problem is we stop. My father was such a talented person.
You want to know if it's not gonna work? I'm so curious. I think my curiosity has helped me too. I want to know if it doesn't. Like you also want to know if it doesn't work, you know?
Oh, like this. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Muppet walk to it if you have to.
Abraham Lincoln said failure. I mean, failure is a beautiful educator. Failure is makes the best educator. Because you learn. And with this movie, I gotta mention that the distributor, the reason they wanted to rush it out and it's at such a quick turnaround, I think we shot it in July, is because we wanted to be the pioneer film. We wanted to be the first movie. Now we're shot 100%. The actual story, the movie is all Zoom. We never leave Zoom. No external cameras, no film cameras, no movie cameras, nothing. This is the first 100% Zoom film, maybe of many. Maybe it'll be the only one. Either way, it's either cool if you're the only one, but it's also cool if you're the first one. You know what I mean? And I wanted to be pioneer. I wanted to pioneer that. You never know. I could see TV series. I mean, I could see a lot of things, but I kind of wanted to lay the groundwork. You know, you don't make money from being the first, but you do make history from being the first. So that's kind of what we wanted to do, and that's why we rushed it and we got it out. Thankfully, the distributor really respected that. They're like, yeah, we've been getting these half Zoom movies. He goes, thank you for not half-assing it. It's gonna help you. He goes, because we could have put a real camera, make it look pretty, but also back to what I said about reviews. Then there's criticism. You're subject to criticism. Oh, the lighting was bad. I shot a budget, no money on Zoom. They can't talk about the lighting. They can't talk about the score. There isn't a score. It's Zoom. They can't.
Just Zoom.
The audio's a little off. Nope. And when we shot, I was like, if your phone rings in the middle of let it ring. Let real things happen. If you hear a ding or like it loses the Wi-Fi shaky. I want it shaky. I wanted it to feel like people. I want people to get lost in these characters and feel like they're in a real Zoom call. And I got to give props also to Tristan Cunningham. She's the lead. She's wonderful in this film. Mm-hmm. She was my producer. Like I said, I produced over 25 features, maybe more, 30 features. I'm kind of over it. I'm ready, because I've seen people mess it up. I've seen directors mess it up. I'm like, I'm tired of supporting directors that I know a little bit more. Like, I think I can do a little bit better than they did. They got lucky. They got an opportunity. God bless them. But I think I could do better at this. I think I want to tell my own stories. So I like cropping.
I've had that. Yeah, I've had that incident before. I read somebody's. I read a friend's screenplay for a movie he had coming up. Yeah. And I called him back. I said, "You wrote this?" He was like, yeah. I said, this is phenomenal. He started laughing. He said, yeah, I write all my stuff. I said, like this? I was trying not to, what I was trying to tell him, I was like, I haven't seen you translate anything on film as good as this. And I think that's the frustration you have being a creative, especially, like I said, the first film that you came out the gate working on.
I have really strong OCD as I gotten older. When you get your OCD kicks in as you're older, you almost want to control everything. That's why the selfie was invented. It's like, I control the selfie. I can live and die by how good that photo is.
You see the girls be sitting there.
Yeah, because I took it, but I like the selfie. OCD people love the selfie because we like control. And that's why I like this film. Like I could help with the artwork. I could help, and Tristan Cunningham, I want to shout her out big time. She had gotten a grant. I think this is a Black filmmakers grant or something. And she used that to help do posts. And she expressed interest in having a production company and producing. I'm ready to pass the torch. Like I'm good. So I got to uplift her, and she created an LLC, and then she has the movie is through her LLC, Lena Light, and now she has the opportunity to keep going and doing that. Because, one thing Mario said, you don't always have to be the man. You know what I mean? It's like, I want somebody else do this stuff. Like I'm trying to do something different, and she really came through, produced the heck out of the movie for it being her first producing time. She was a quick learner, and I'm happy that she can now be propped up not only as a lead actress but as a producer, and a young female producer in this men's business. She was female. Not that that's the reason I did it. It's just happened to be a nice little anecdote. You know what I mean? When you see somebody, excelling in a hard field, it's a really hard field, and she took on the challenge. And kudos to her. So I wanted to make sure she got a mention as well. And she's one of the story by people. She wrote it with me. There was three of us.
What's that? Cunningham?
Cunningham, yeah, Tristan Cunningham. She's the lead and the producer.
Yeah, I want to make sure because I know you got to.
First to reach out to me when I came up with the idea.
Yeah,
I was in a forum. We're in a forum we have the same manager. And I just said it in a chat, in a comment. Hey, you can do a movie on Zoom, ha ha. And then she wrote me, are you serious? That's a brilliant idea. And Joseph hit me up. So then we just got on a call and flushed it out and said, okay, you're serious? I'm serious. And, I've had I've been in the business 2004. I mean, I did Monster in 2001. So whatever. I've been in the business almost 20 years or whatever. And you realize when you do your own thing that everything is not corny, but everything happens. I didn't know Mario, hey Mario, I'm trying to do this thing, and then his son edits my movie. I didn't know I've built all these relationships that I just admire. Then when you need something, you're like, wait, I know people for that. Wait, I can reach out. It's crazy. You don't know why you know people or I just like people. I don't, because people ask me, hey, you've done 2 films with so-and-so, and I don't want to say names, but
right.
Y'all tight? I'm like, no, because as a person, we didn't click. Me and Mario click. We understand each other or something. I think it's mostly because Mario's humble. He's reachable too. If you go up to him, he'll talk to you. He's very reachable. He's a great dad, family man, and I see a lot of my dad in him. And it's gotta click. I'm not the type of guy. I'm not just oh, you did movies with so and so, and why aren't you guys tight? I'm like, no, because we just didn't click that way. And I'm not one to go seek a relationship or a friendship. You gotta have somebody.
And you got a lot of people that aren't tight with everybody at their job. It's funny because you see a movie and you're like, oh, y'all seem so good. It's like, are you tight with everybody at your job? It's like, I don't like Frank. It was like, I don't like Frankie.
You got to seek each other out. You sought me out, right? I sought you out. You seek me out. Mario sought me out. Once we first worked together, he just started hitting me up, and it's like, you hit me up, I'll hit you back. And then you want me to just, help? I'll help, So I think we seek each other out. I think the best relationships are the one that are two-sided, where you seek each other out. It's not just right. Oh, you work big timer, dude. why aren't you, because I've seen people, they hit them up, they try to go to their house, they try to get buddy, and I'm like, I just think whoever's meant for you is meant for you. And I think that's how my career has been. I work with the same people all the time. I've done 8 or 9 with Mario. My partners, Fraser and Jeffrey, we've been partners for like 16 years. We've done over 20 together. Same people, like Adam Sandler. I always admired that about Adam Sandler. Whether the movie's good, bad, or indifferent, he got the same grip. His actor buddy plays the friend. His caterer's the same. I heard his
Spike Lee the same way.
Yeah, and that's always, and Tyler's the same. And I think you gotta. That's the independent spirit award of this business, is when you're independent like Spike and Tyler are, because they don't have the studio stuff, and if you keep the same team around, you'll do well. And then you realize, like after Sam passed, I almost didn't want to go to set, or I was about to go on a movie, but I had my friends there. I was working with friends. So I said to myself, I said, you know what? I get to go work with friends. That's a blessing. And who better to work with during a trying time and a tragedy like that than be around your friends at work, doing what you love to do. So that's really helped me. And I was like, look, if I make movies for the rest of my life with these 3 guys, I'm good. I don't need, if Spielberg happens, great. Or if some big filmmaker I admire, great. But you got to also do it with people Mario always says that. You got to do it with people you like. Like, that's the funnest work, is when you're working with people you like and they like you. So that's one thing I learned.
I know we can rock out. We can rock out for a while. I know you have a meeting with your crew.
I'm good till 5:30.
Oh, like I was saying. No, I want to touch on this, and I don't want to give any of the film away. Y'all got to go see it, and it's a thriller. Okay, this is a thriller. It's
informative thriller.
Huh?
Informative thriller.
Informative thriller, and it's a movie. It's not a short. It's a movie.
72 minutes. I think it ran 70 minutes, 72 minutes. Just under 72 minutes. So I don't take up much of your time. I respect people's time. So
but it's a thrill ride. Go check it out. It's you're gonna be happy. But what I like, and this is a conglomerate, I like to inspire people. I know a lot of creatives. A lot of people are gonna see this. I believe this is gonna be highly successful right now. For what, and one thing I know about you is you don't put measures on your success. And I can say that because you might have said, I got to get this. It's kind of like you have I got to get it out of me.
It's like having a baby. You got to get it out in 9 months.
You're expecting, you don't know what that baby is going to be. But I know one thing, I carried this thing. And if I keep carrying it.
Pretty baby, ugly baby, you don't know. That's what Mario said.
And look, I remember when we had Zoe. She was like, that is a beautiful baby. That's a beautiful cat. By the last time, I'm feeding the baby in an incubator because her mom is knocked out. We had a C-section. I'm feeding her. Zoe grabbed that's a beautiful baby. That's a beautiful. I'm like, aren't all babies beautiful? This nurse looked at me and said, no, sir. No. The look of sincerity.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, aren't all movies good? No, not all movies are.
I was like, oh. I was like, thank you, Lord. You gave me a beautiful. I didn't know. Yeah. I'm looking at the toes and the fingers.
And you said a word, measure of success. So for me, like I wrote a book too. It won't come out till next year. For me, if 2 people or 3 people watch this film and they're like, I got it. I got what they were trying to do. I get it. Like it spoke to me and pass it to like, I'm okay with that. I'm not, mass appeal is great, but it comes with a price, and mass appeal would be great. That's not what I do it for. I want 1 or 2 people to personally write me and say, hey, I get you. I got what this is trying to do. I get it. I'm going to push the message. You gotta keep your foot on the gas, as Maya Angelou's, you got to keep your foot on the gas of progress and justice and all that. So if people feel like the gas, they'll put their foot on the pedal when I'm tired of keeping it on the pedal. That's good for me. It's a couple people, man. Like when I wrote the book, I was like, And I've had people read my manuscript. My brother, a couple other people, and they're like, this is changing. This is like, it's a spiritual book. It's a lot on grace and stuff like that. And they're like, this is going to change Christians' minds. And da-da-da. I was like, I hope maybe it changes two people's minds. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a couple people, like just like doing music. It's like, I had so much fun doing music. People that like wrote, a lot of random people wrote to me like, oh, your movie's on that soundtrack. Where can I download it? That song is this, and it reminds me of my girlfriend and we broke up. And like, that's all you just want to hear. That's all you just want to hear. Yes. One or two people. You got me. If one person gets me, if we're like, if you watch it and you're like, I get it. I get what you're doing.
That's when it's great. I just talked about this on my sister, I call her my Harriet Tubman, from Baltimore. We do a radio show on Saturdays in Baltimore called Tighten It Radio. And we were talking about it beforehand, but I'll talk about it now. I talk about how important affirmation is, especially for men, especially coming from someone older or someone who we respect where they are, where we want to be. The blessing in your journey, it sounds like you've been able to connect with some phenomenal mentors. Yeah. Some people may be asking, okay, how did you do this? How did you do it? But it's your road was very organic. At the word that everybody loves saying, your road was very organic. Where would you like to be, or what would you like to be doing in the next 2 years?
As I gotten older, I focus on just a couple things, and whatever else happens. So I got to get this book out. It's called Only God. Remember Tupac said, "Only God can judge me." The book's called Only God Can't Judge Me. I'm a product of grace.
Right.
And I got to get that out. That's on my short list. I have a movie called Crimson Blues that I've been developing for 7 years. I got Lawrence Fishburne on board. I got Thomas Jane on board. So I'm putting that together. Hopefully shoot based on their schedule in January, maybe April. That movie is relevant too. It's got some BLM themes. It's got police corruption, like inner workings of police department stuff, which is relevant. It's relevant and informative. But then that movie, as opposed to Zoom, more people will probably see it because it's got Lawrence Fishburne in it and Thomas Jane. But at least that's my like movie on the subject matter and things that are, Mario blessed me with the gift of arm because I'm passionate about what that movie's about, and it's a sign of our times. And I like doing a sign of the times movie because that's what will outlast. They'll always play a pandemic movie. Like, think in 10 years, I have a pandemic movie during the pandemic of Corona, just like 9/11 movies, just like Spanish flu movies, World War II movies. These movies.
We see them. Yeah. Look what Netflix did with Contagion and all. I was like, when did these movies come out? They came out years ago.
Because it's relevant again, and I want to make it, but it's like a time capsule. What I want the future generations to see our challenges during this time. 20 years from now, these kids will see this film because it's always going to be around, and accessible, and see it and understand where we come from as a country, as a people, as for humanity, for the world. And how the world's gotten involved in our issues. Before, it used to be like, it's an American issue. After George Floyd, every country made it their issue because they're like, if it's an American issue, it's our issue because it's a human issue. It's a human rights issue. Right. So that's why I'm glad we did it. Maybe it won't take off. Maybe in 5 years it'll get popular because people will be over. They'll be just like, okay, that's over. Let me watch a movie about it to remind myself where I came from. And I think it's important. So I got the book. Crimson, the next 2 years, those two things are heavy on my heart and mind, and then I'll just breathe for a minute and figure out what's next. But I'm hoping to do TV. TV is like a country club that's hard to get into. TV and film are two different clubs, man. The TV, they got the gatekeepers, the guards, the big showrunners, and I've tried to work TV scripts. I had one with, I think Antoine Fuqua was attached to direct the pilot or whatever, and it just wasn't, political, and it's very a country club. So I might have to just Tyler Perry that and come up with a series. That's on my mind too, is a series. And honestly, a series like maybe it's just an office Zoom call and people get to see the characters and they spill the tea every week and you see the different. I don't know. You know, I'd like to do some type of series at some point. That's kind of next after I get these. So I got Zoom, the book, Only God Can't Judge Me, and then Crimson Blues. Those are my get these done, and then I can breathe and think about my next move. That's the way I've been. But you said organic journey, and I don't think about how I got here a lot until somebody asked me, I think a year ago. A girl I was dating, oh, how'd you get in the business? I was like, man, that's a good question. People barely ever ask me that. It's the most wildest story. And I'm going to tell you. So after Monster, you know, I thought I was cool coming to Hollywood. The doors are going to open. I was in an Oscar movie. You know, you're a small fish in a big pond here. So I was just, you know, trying to get an agent. You know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't like, oh, you're in a big movie. I mean, I had the opening scene, but then I was in a flashback. I don't continue in the movie. So I was young, naive. I think I was 20 years old. You know, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kid. I was at the cell phone store in Beverly, and I saw this. Remember they used to do ads, little thing numbers, little cut. They cut the little numbers, and you pull the number, a job or whatever. Yes. It said get paid to go to Laker games. Me, I'm thinking, man, Hollywood's amazing. I can get paid to go to a Laker game. Little did I know, it's an escort service. So I go up to the guy's office because it was right on Beverly there. And he could tell he was nice about it. He's like, okay, this guy is just naive. Okay.
Hey, guy.
Then we started talking. And he's like, yeah, I got this management company I'm starting. I manage actors, and maybe you can help submit the breakdowns. And because I had office management skills from back in Orlando, because maybe you can just run my office. I'll pay you and da-da-da. And then I got my brother a job because he just moved here, and he was like my secretary answering the phones. So we're running this little management development company for actors. So then I get submitted for auditions. I get to meet agents because he has agents and managers come to the office to try to like sign the talent or whatever. And I was arranging a lot of those agents and met them. So I got an agent out of it and met a guy there that I worked for. And me and the owner he sat me down because I'm kind of stubborn in a lot of ways. And maybe that's my OCD or just my personality. He said, Justin, he sat me down in his office. I'll never forget this. He said, and this was in 2004. He goes, 99% of people can work for a boss. There's 1% that can't, and they're very successful. So it's not I'm not being negative. He goes, you can't work for a boss. You can't work for somebody. You're just not, you have your own ideas and they're great. And I just need things ran my way. It's my company I said, I totally get it. He goes, so how about this? How about you do some marketing work for me on the side? You can work from home and come pick up a check. We don't have to see each other. We don't have to be all up in each other's, I think he just wanted that distance from me. Now, the guy that I met there that called me to first hire me, who worked for the owner, he says, hey, I got these guys. They're trying to start a production company. They're working with Ronald Shusett, creator of Alien. I was like, oh, this sounds wild. He goes, I told him about you. I told him you know how to run an office and staff and So I meet with these guys. They immediately give me a desk and a job in the CNN building. 6 floors above Larry King Live. I saw Larry King almost every day at work. That's my first year here. Now, how did that happen? I responded to an escort ad that I didn't know.
Not just that. He pulled it off a pole.
Yeah.
You pulled it was on a pole, one of the poles or a board somewhere.
To post them on the telephone poles, and they have.
He was walking down whatever boulevard, probably Hollywood.
Beverly Boulevard.
On Beverly. And pulled a go see Laker game. And walk, but it's you getting in the door. It's the foot in the door thing.
Yeah, and that was. Imagine if I was conservative. That sounds like an escort or like a bad thing. I thank God for my naivety. It's like I thought he was being serious, And I grew up in church, so we're sheltered from a lot of stuff, and that kind of helped in that situation where I didn't know it was all spelled out. Then when he started talking about it, he's like, "Oh, these ladies and they're older," and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what it is." But then we shifted the conversation. He could see that I was just like some innocent kid. He read me, and here I am. And I always think it'd be funny if I do win some type of award where I have to give some type of a speech, and I can just say that, yeah, it all started with responding to an escort ad, you know,
Right.
because but my whole life, whenever I tried it, like, let me meet the right people and make the right call and grind, people say grind, hustle. I responded to an escort ad because I never believed in conventional stuff. I'm not a conventional type guy. I just know how to pursue something. So anyway, I just never been, and God is not that way, and He's very unconventional. And the way, if you look at your life and how you got here and the things you've accomplished, you're like, that was like orchestrated better than I could ever orchestrate it, because we try to orchestrate our life and control every little bit, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I didn't come. I wish I had a story like, well, I came here and I grinded and I hustled and I met the right people. And no, I responded to an escort ad that led me to meet this guy who let me meet that guy.
And you just did and it's funny, you used the tools you had. Jake said it, Bishop T.D. Jake says, if you're going to walk by faith, you got to be willing to look foolish. And that's the biggest thing I can tell people, because some people say, well, why are you doing, I don't understand why you're doing it. I'm like, me neither.
Yeah. By the way, I get to that company. So I finally work for this company. They want to do a music department. I have a little music knowledge from Florida. And the guys, the suits, the owners are like, we're going to have a record label and you're going to run it. I said, what? I never ran a record label. I don't know. They're like, you got to do it. You want a check? You got to do it. I was like, yes, sir. I need a check. So I ran this indie label, and then they started doing a lot more movies. And they're like, I acted in one of the director's short films. He's like, do you want to cast this movie? I didn't even know what a casting director was. I know you do castings and auditions. The owner makes me the head of casting. I'm 21 years old. I'm talking to lawyers, CAA, William Morris, making deals. And I'm like, how did I do that? Like, how did this, like, I don't say no, but I want to learn. So I would call lawyers and have them educate me on an acting contract and what the deal points are. Because every contract, there's like 4 sticking points. Those points. Everything else is just hoopla. I do that. I start music supervising. I did things I never came to Hollywood to do. Then that leads into producing. Now I'm a producer. My dad's like, I don't even know what's going on with you. You just do some rant. Like, it just fell in my lap. Like, I feel like I went backwards. Like, I started at the top, producing, casting, high profile job. Now the writer's strike happened. That company folded. And then I had to go to AD, and I did different departments because I didn't have producers. Just, they got to make their own work. It's not like, you get, I'm looking for a producer over at DreamWorks. It's like, no, you got to know the right people, and it's not as easy. So I kind of just started learning all the different departments, doing random jobs after that. But it's crazy to start at the top I had a view of the Hollywood sign in a big CNN building penthouse office. And when my dad came to see me, he's like, what is going on? Should I be concerned?
He's like, son, did you take some old woman to a Lakers game? He's like,
yeah.
No, Dad,
and I feel like it was good because I started at the top, like the top level stuff. Then I got humbled after that all went away. And then I could do things more grassroots and mechanical, and I learned the mechanics of filmmaking. So I went backwards where there was no buildup. It wasn't like I started as a PA. I went to film school. I never went to film school. I started as a PA, and then I got to be an AD, and then I got to do this. And then it's like, no, I started at the top: producer, casting director, office, da-da-da-da-da. I started there and then went down. Right. I just slid down the scale. Now I'm back, which was an important.
I always say, there's one thing I always say, God wastes nothing. Nothing is wasted. Like, nothing is wasted. Some of the things that I started doing when I was 11 and 12 and 8, and, now are extreme virtues when it comes to me producing a talk show, or doing my consulting, or, so nothing is wasted. And a friend of mine said a while back, he works with the government, stuff like that. And he went to this thing for resumes and he learned his stuff. And the guy was like, what is this? How old are you, sister? She's like 40. Like, you 40 years old and work with them. Why did you give me one sheet? Your resume better be 3 or 4 sheets if you do contract work. And they were like, what? Because, some people want to go on with this pretty, it's like, no, if it's 3 or 4 sheets, you got some experience here. It's life. And life seems to be the best teacher. All right. I'm not gonna rip me running. Ripping, we can talk for 2 hours.
Right.
Y'all here? We gotta do a part 2. But I want people to go and check this out this evening.
Amazon Prime.
Give some key words that you want to say to folks, something inspirational, and then let people know how to get in touch with you.
Some inspirational stuff.
I mean, everything said has been inspirational.
So yeah, from this experience of doing Zoom.MOV, necessity is the mother of invention. When you're put against the wall, we're in quarantine, can't go outside. Always look at what can I do? Oh, I can't go outside. Okay. I can't go on a movie set because they shut the sets down. Okay. Now write something. What can I do? Oh, I have a laptop. I have internet. Oh, I can write. Or I can do a Zoom thing. Oh, I can. Oh, Zoom records. Oh, I could make a movie. You know what I mean? So I tell people, don't look at what you can't do or you're not allowed or restricted to do. What can you do and make the most of that? You know, same with the lockdown. Like when the riots were happening, the curfew. It's like, okay, I know I can't go to the store. I can't go anywhere. I'm gonna play. I went through old records, man, and just music, and just fell in love with old music again. I went through some Olivia Newton-John stuff. I went through Bill Withers because he passed away. I got to go back and get my music history lesson, you know, because I couldn't go outside and I couldn't do this. Another thing, I took up paddleboarding as a hobby. I never thought I'd be a paddleboarder. Started going to the marina and paddle. Yeah, the board really fun. Did it at the marina, but we couldn't go. We can't go in a restaurant, so it pushes aside. So people are hiking more. They're doing more nature things. I've done more nature stuff, you know. And I'm like, oh wait, LA's
whole
beautiful.
Neighborhoods walking with their family down the block. Kids riding bikes with their bike stores sold out.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not about what you can't do or not allowed to do. So it's what can you do and do the most with that. And that's my little nugget.
All right. Justin Nesbitt, tell everybody how to get in touch with you. And most of all, where they can find Zoom.MOV tonight. And you'll see, for those that don't catch all this, all the information will be below in the YouTube and the IGTV, wherever you see this, LinkedIn.
Okay, so you can get in touch with me on Instagram. It's Justin D Nesbitt, stands for David, my middle name. So Justin D Nesbitt, NES, B as in boy, ITT. That's at Instagram. I think it's all my handles, TikTok, everything's Justin D Nesbitt under that banner. And then the movie is available on Amazon Prime. Please comment. You loved it, you hate it, whatever you thought of it. Give us as many stars as you can. That helps. Like I said, we don't have McDonald's marketing money. Your little algorithms and comments, they help us little filmmakers. And if you love the message of this movie, which I think everybody will, you know, you're part of helping out social justice and justice happen and pushing that message forward. Also, Vimeo on demand. If you're on Vimeo on demand, you can rent it or buy it there. If you have a Roku TV, Smart TV, it's all over there. I tested it today, so it all works. Everything's good. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So we're doing that. There's 4 legs to our release. We'll probably be doing Redbox next.
Nice.
We're start breaking in. It's US and Canada now. Then we're going to start breaking into Europe and start breaking it into Brazil and all the other countries. We've translated it and captioned it in 8 different languages. So we'll start making our way around the world. The American film market is next week. It'll be presented there. And I have to shout out and mention the Pembroke Tapparelli Arts and Film Festival. They've made us the top feature at their film festival. That'll be November 6th through November 8th. It's a virtual film festival.
Nice.
Pembroke, Pembroke, Tapparelli, Taperelli, Arts and Film Festival. That's I don't have the date yet or the time slot. They're doing the live virtual screening because film festivals now are virtual online, but you can check out the movie if, you know, free 99. So you can check it out live there. It's a social justice film festival. All the films center around justice. So it fits perfectly. But my dream for this film is to break out of the choir and out of the church into the people in the parking lot. So I just want to put that out there. So even if you don't agree with your friend, let them see the movie. You know, maybe you'll provoke thought, you know. And that's my goal with this movie. I want to bring unity in this country and as a people and humanity and start listening to each other. You know, we can't just shut people out that don't believe in what we do. And I make sure in the film to express every interest. My character says Corona's a hoax. from the government, whatever. Everybody has a different, all my characters in the movies voice everything you've seen on social media, every hoax, every the looting and the shooting and the protests are misguided. Like we cover everybody's opinion, and then we wind it up. And the message is, we're so busy fighting with each other, we don't see these little injustices happening every day because we're so busy about being right that we don't notice something bad happen. And that's what the movie's about. And I wanted to humanize a protester. These are people that are Ivy League, college educated. They're not just unemployed and have nothing to do. A lot of these protesters left their job, for the day to go protest, and they make six figures, and they're amazing people, and they had childhoods too, and they just believe in the cause. And I wanted to show that our lead character is a protester. She does, try to get the office, to listen to her about her cause. So I wanted to humanize her. You're gonna love this character. She's a great character. The actress is great that plays her, Tristan Cunningham, and I just want to humanize, follow what is a protester and why do they do it and what is their life like. Instead of just what we see on the news and they try to show the negative, the fires and the looting. Like, what about the people that aren't looting? What about the people that are there for the right reason? What's their life like? Where do they work? Where did they grow up? What did they do? What? Just humanize them, because I think the media does a bad job at doing that. So us in the media, Hollywood, movie media, we get to make the stories that change people's minds. Mario always says this: you wouldn't have gay marriage without Will and Grace. Am I right? You feel me on that? There would be no gay marriage without what you have. And Will and Grace, it was the friend. You didn't see two men kissing. They made it, they lightly, and that's what's beautiful about the arts, is you can educate, entertain, and inform people at the same time to get them comfortable.
Yeah. We make life palatable.
Yeah, he said, you won't get the Obamas without the Huxtables. Think about that. Huxtables, family, doctor, lawyer. Theo was cool. He felt like all your, like a buddy. You know what I mean? Like you got to get people comfortable with things, because we change so fast in America, because we are free and we do have freedom, that some people are going to be lag behind. And it's not their fault. That's the way they were trained. But if you do the Cosby Show, then years later you'll get the Obama, because you're getting people comfortable with these ideas. Because we went from Will and Grace to Modern Family, which Modern Family is more on the nose, one of the most popular shows on TV. And now you have gay marriage, and people can love who they want to love. And there's still a little resistance, but people love Modern Family. They love Will and Grace. But what if Will and Grace and on Friends, the one character, what if they just hit you in the face with it? Let's just open the TV series of Will and Grace with Will kissing another dude. That's just gonna, you can't do that. So my point to that is, that's what I try to do as a filmmaker and artist, is do movies that, they're thought-provoking. They're just nudging you a little bit, and you don't even know you're being nudged. Nobody knew they were being nudged on Will and Grace. They just thought that was their friend.
No one, piece by piece by piece, little by little, the arts, we're here to make much more palatable. What'd you say?
Remember Different World?
Of course.
That was, I mean, off of the Cosby Show, which then showed college life. Everybody wanted to be Dwayne, with the glasses and, Sinbad.
HBCU enrollment was up like 50 to 60% during that time.
Because it made it fun. It made college feel fun. And
also the biggest thing is it exposed things that the arts expose things that most people don't know exist. And there are people that weren't, I talked to people over the years that they had never saw a Black person in their community or maybe until they went to college, but because they got involved with hip hop, that's all they knew, So it's so many different things that the arts are allowed to do. So I'm gonna let you boogie, because we gotta plug this. We gotta see it this evening. But I want to make sure that we have all that. We have all the information. We got to do another one, especially when your book drops and when you work. Crimson Blue is coming. Lawrence Fishburne and you said Thomas
Jane. Yeah, he's the Punisher. For all the Marvel fans, the comic book fans, he was the Punisher in the Punisher movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna be amazing as well. But we got to get together. I want to because you got to do a forum. You got to do a forum. We got to do a breakfast, life, and love brunch, and invite you to.
Hey, you know how to get a hold of. You know where to reach me, man. I'm always down for that.
Yes, sir. Justin Nesbitt, thank you, brother, for taking a minute.
No, thank you, everybody, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Enjoy the movie. Get some popcorn. Amazon and chill, not Netflix and chill. Remember, it's Amazon and chill. Netflix might be later. Well, hopefully,
it'll be later. They'll come knocking.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you in a hot second.
All right, man. Thank you.
Peace.
All right.